Hi there, this is Heather Park with the Santa Fe Institute for Mediumship and Spiritual Studies. And today I have the privilege of interviewing Miss Reverend AdaRA Walton, who's also a doctor. I just have to put that in there. You're also a doctor, but you prefer to be called Reverend. And today we're going to be talking briefly about your upcoming class that you're going to be teaching. So you're teaching the Say Yes to YESHUA Energetics Healings course. That's going to be offered on a Friday and a Saturday. It's a 2-hour each day class, April 23rd and 24th, and it's a 4 to 6 p.m. Mountain Time class. Thank you so much for being here, AdaRA. Just wanted to ask you real quick if you could give us an overview. First of all, YESHUA stands for something. So could you talk to us a little bit about what that means?
Yes, and I'd love to. First of all, thank you. And you're just a very easy person to deal with your voice, and you put me at ease right off the bat here. So yes, and so I'm saying yes. So I want to tell people really what that is, the yes, and how YESHUA Energetics, a little bit about the class, and then I'll let you read this. And for those listening, no, this is not pre-staged or anything like this. We're just having our little conversational moment here. And I really hope that this entices people what they hear to take the free class that's, going to be offered on Friday, April 10th, and more so take the class. The Yes YESHUA came about directly through meditations. And I want to say this had no human external it has external human application, but the information was received strictly through sitting down and through meditative states. And no, it didn't take forever long. When Spirit has a message you would like to deliver, and you're sharing this with other people, it can be distilled just this specifically, just this clearly. So the Yes YESHUA, the yes is yielding to the energy source. Beautiful. Now, that source is what birthed, as we know, source birthed the whole universe. That's right. I'm not going to go, and we were all well read in a lot of that. But the yes birthed the YESHUA Energetics, meaning the yield, that whole source, what I call that huge energy source that has universal applicability, gave me the YESHUA Energetics healing. However, I was given all of the content, and I want people to know that all of the information, the terms, the definitions, the process, the how to do this, all of that was given first in my first sitting. The second sitting was, we'll now give you the name. Okay, so yes. YESHUA is another name for, and some people may say Yeshua, we don't care how it's pronounced, but YESHUA ben Joseph, which is Jesus the Christ. Yes. And I acknowledge and recognize the Christ consciousness in all of us. But they wanted me, again, to use the term YESHUA. And I said, well, what is that going to be for? And every question was met with, in this class, an immediate response. So this was something, it also came about because I had years, like many of the people who will probably take this class, of studying other people's work, other people's techniques, other people's processes. And I'm not boasting, but yes, I have 8 Reiki masterships, but that should show you that's indicative of I was going everywhere else, learning every which get this master technique, get this, right. And nothing for myself. And I finally sat with Spirit and said, if I was really born in this grace, if I was really born and I'm a reflection of the Spirit, not the flaws, the human ego stuff, but the essence of my spirit is still untouched, it's clear, then I can have something given to me from source. Yes. And I said, source, what could you give me that I can share with everyone else? I never asked for this course for me. They know my heart. They will know your heart. And I said, I would like something. It wasn't a need. My need was, I did want to share. I've always had that with me. Yes. And I wanted to have something I could share with anyone. And they said, well, what did YESHUA do, or Yeshua? He didn't discriminate.
Right.
His love was so magnanimous. It went to children, it went to adults, teens, you name it. He did no color. He traveled, you know, there's books written. Was he really in India? Did he go to, you know,
Right.
whether you argue that or not, the one truth remains, he was magnanimous. People know him as a universal master, teaching what? From his heart and teaching everyone. And that's what I asked for. What can I do that people can teach everyone?
Yes.
Children, adults, what can they give? And don't make it difficult. I don't want a language barrier. And I said, I'm not even gonna dictate, Spirit, how you want to give it to me, but you know my heart. I want something for everybody. And I need it simple and I need it clear. And if it be your will, and the next thing, the flow, I heard, go get paper and pencil. I literally got up. I had a little room in my house when I lived in Maryland. I had a little prayer room. I have so much more now because that's the way Spirit has graced and blessed me. And it do that for all of us, all of you. So it came down yielding to the energy source, healing us always. And so I likened it to, you see, you know, electricity. Yeah. It's always flowing. Now, whether you put the plug in or not, you have to consciously do that to get the light to come on. Yes. Well, I said, oh, same kind of thing. You have to plug into the source to keep the healing coming and to keep that flow coming. And they said, well, what other master walked this earth that did that? The same one, the Christ consciousness in you, but you don't want to call it Christ. We're giving you the name, YESHUA, yielding to the energy. So yield, let go, release, surrender. Yes. And it's not
have to show up. We have to show up to do this.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's healing us always. Yes. So we're the ones. Now, I will say, we do come, they're pre-birth contracts, they're scripts. You know, I don't have Akashic records, you know, all of this that you have read and you have an affinity. But I still felt you got to connect yourself to it. You have to hook yourself to it. It's not about whether you deserve, you know, it's not about somebody owes you this or whether you can pay for this. This is freely given. So just like the wind, you don't always see it, but you feel it and you know it's there. Yes. This is the same source of healing. You don't have to see it. You can sense it, feel it, taste it. Some people can hear it. You know it's there. Yes. But he always and in all ways. But we're the ones, and I often tell students, because I've done this myself. You plug in and you unplug. You connect and you disconnect. And then you say, oh, my guides aren't talking to me, or here, Spirit, I must have done something. Then you start the self-sabotage. You start the judgment. Absolutely. My guides, they gave me this, said, no, no, no. Yielding, energy, source, healing, us. Not just you, AdaRA, not just Heather in this case, healing us always. Now, why did they do energetics? Because it was given to me with an I in. And I'll give just little definition to what's your appetite. Right. But energy spelled with an I, when it was given to me, it's information and energy flowing from the matrix. Energy and information. You don't just get the energy, it comes on a flow, and information can be given through what? Through sound, through light, through way different methods that are applicable to how you need it. Yes. The source knows exactly how to give it to you. So all I literally had to do was be open to receiving how they gave me this class. So when they said, go get a notebook, I went and got a spiral notebook, my pen. They said, no title. We want you to write everything down first. Yielding to the energy source. That is your source. So AdaRA, let go right now. You're nothing but, you are a child of source, a child of whatever you want to call creator. You know, Elohim, whatever word, we don't care even the word, right? But you were created in that. So let this flow to you. And they said, what you're going to need for this, are only two things besides showing up yourself. You need consciousness
Yes.
and intention.
Yes.
And those things, your consciousness and your intention will have an impact on your physical reality. Yep. I said, well, where'd that come from? And they said, oh, that's in one of your good books. We'll tell you where to look for it. So they did, made me search, and they said, we're going to show you exactly where it is. I'm not the great reader of Proverbs, but that's where it was, Proverbs 23:7. I'm like,
oh
well,
wow.
Your consciousness and intention.
Yeah.
And I said, are you going to give me definitions? Yes, we are. What is source? And that's when they started. I didn't go to any encyclopedia, any book, by then I had enough information. How am I going to, that ego, your analytical self will get in. Yes. And I wouldn't allow it in this. This was a straight flow of consciousness, the way I guess Edgar Casey may have read, but he's not one of my guides, but it's the kind of thing it just flowed. So YESHUA Energetics came again as a direct class to me, direct information based on a question and a need I had to serve. Now, part of that I will say, I was saying at the time, I'm not doing enough. How many times I'm not teaching enough. I'm not doing the class you want to do. We start self-attack and self-sabotage. Okay. My guides at that time said, and I wasn't, I'm saying, I will really say this for everyone's benefit. At that time, I wasn't as studied as I am now. I didn't have as much knowledge. I didn't even have a band of God, but what I had was an absolute trust that what I was hearing going straight through my heart and then back up and then just write and just dictate, that it was absolutely coming from a source of love, a source of goodness, and answering what I asked, which is, can you give me something I can share with people? And they said, we love to teach, and we're going to give it to you very easy, very simply. Write all this down. We're going to, and write your definitions. After you do the definitions, we're going to give you what the requirements are. And guess what? You didn't see this coming, AdaRA. It's not hands-on. This is not going to be, you have learned so much hands-on. Part of other techniques you've learned and processes, even including your Reiki, there's an aspect of apps and healing remote. Well, this one we're going to give you, and I didn't know the impact at that time that it could even possibly have. Here it is 9 years later, and it's in this time of pandemic. You can do this on the phone. Yeah. You can set this up actually with someone to say, I'm going to do the YESHUA Energetics with you. Please set up a time that I can send this to you. You're going to be the receiver. I'm going to be the sender, and voila. Okay. And that, so you can set this up. And I didn't know about Zoom. Did we even have Zoom back in 2009? I was so.
It was the last year.
Yes, I didn't know zip about electronics back in 2009. Okay. And so I didn't know about the Zoom. I didn't know about this age of technology that was coming. They obviously did. Yeah. So they built something that could be easily used through the telephone, through electronic means, that is so simple to do, and you actually will receive healing. Why? The sender is connected to the source.
That's right.
Guess what? If there's one of us here, then the receiver is connected to the source. Now, as I said, we can connect and disconnect, but this allows the information, the flow of healing to go and sit there until you decide, she did that 3 days ago for me. Well, guess what? It will fall down because the intention that's set by the sender, which came from your source anyway, is that I'm going to send a positive desire for this person to receive the energy she or he needs, or the child, doesn't matter what the age, and the information that goes with it, thereby receiving the healing that source has said is appropriate for Heather, appropriate for AdaRA, If we reverse the roles and you're the sender and I'm the receiver, it was so distilled so gracefully. I
Yes.
couldn't believe what I really had. So that's really, that is how it came about.
And now it sounds like this is pretty simple and that even a beginner could learn your process. Is that right?
Absolutely. And what they did again, that is why even in the when we write it up, and even when I have had to, I don't say so much advertise, but mean advertise by words, mouth, when people ask for things.
Right.
There's no prerequisite. This does not require. And I've had people ask me because they know all of, my background and training. And
You've
if
had
they
a lot
don't,
of background in healing too. Let me just say, some people may know that about you, but you've studied years all over the world with all different people, all different modalities.
about 40 years, as I tell people, I took when I was working, as I finally call it, my good government job.
Yeah.
Knew me then. I would take money. I would go to the world. I've been to Africa, several countries in Africa. I have studied with indigenous tribes. I have studied with shamans. I have studied with actual healing tribes that did remote healing and that actually did. I have been so many places. I'm saying in the world, also Brazil, John of God, been to the Casa, and a lot of my healing equipment is based on, again, those tools that Spirit said, put your money where your mouth is. We're going to ask you to buy this because it's going to help this other person. And yes, it helps you too. But my heart has always been, what am I going to do that provides for other people? But there's one of us here, and I've learned that. So yes, so those years of study, but it got distilled into something and said, sorry, no prerequisite. We don't want any, if someone says, can I take your course? I don't know jack about energy.
Yep.
I don't, the energy, I have over 2,000 some hours in kinesiology study, professional study. And again, my doctorate, again, that was still around energy, but it was still with a different kind of modality. What I call non-conventional healing.
Okay.
And so what happened is, with all that, Spirit said, well, see, that's all what you did. That is what we sent you to do. But we're going to give you something that even right here, when you first started, you didn't have anything, you didn't know anything. What did you have? I said, a heart. That's what you need for this.
Beautiful.
What else did you have? I said, an openness to learn. I was so hungry. Well, that's all they need. And a willingness to learn something.
Yes.
And so people may say, this is too simple. This is too easy. It's not like I'm just asking people, don't judge, don't evaluate.
Right.
Because see, you have to be open to surrender, to say, well, what do you have for me? And then however it's distilled for you, that's the grace and beauty of it. Take it and allow those kind spirits to craft it for you. And then they know what your heart is going to be. They know how you're going to put yourself in it to share. And so they distilled it very simplistically. There's not, here I have learned you do this with this form of Reiki, and you do this if it's learning someone else's processes, everything external. And yes, a lot of courses were predicated on prior training, prerequisites. That's the way this world and the Western world is set up. The grace and beauty of Spirit was not this time. We're going to do this real simple, real easy. And it allow, I will say this, there's, and I will be sharing this in the 1 hour class, but they do allow for you to make your connection. So if you want to connect to an item, and I tell people, you're not worshiping the item, but we all, like, I have a picture, my guide, I have, a crystal that I want to use.
Sure. If you have something special.
Right. That is special to you.
Yes. Okay.
Special to me. So the sender and the receiver will use those special tools. But my very first class, I had someone raise their hand and say, well, Reverend AdaRA, do we have to use something? Now, they did tell me it is so much easier, they said, for the human race, where we were then and still now.
Yeah.
We like our things, we like our items, whether it's, you call it a totem, whether it's a crystal, whether it's a rock, whether it's a novena card, it will remind you of your connection to source.
Right.
So we're going to tell you. But the person that raised their hand said, I don't need anything. I said, oh, great. See, that's your consciousness.
Yes.
You're already. So if you
listen
to something, you know, the crystal, that's fine. But most people do. So they design the course so that if you connect to your whatever it is, and you start to sense that flow, that's going to take your connection straight up. Now, if you can just do your connection, fine. You don't have to use. And so I answered, you do not have to use an object or an item.
Right.
But that's how we do the sending and receiving for this course.
Okay.
You connect to that and move up.
Okay. Well, AdaRA, I'm going to pause here. I have just really enjoyed listening to you talk about your description of how this class came to be. And I really feel like people will be able to hear this and understand a little bit more about the fact that this is your own class. It was, you know, intuited from a process that you have through meditation in your spirit group. So I just want to thank you so much. I want to let anyone watching this know that they can go to our website, which is www.sfimss.org, to find out more information. And we do have a free class. You're giving a free class now also. And that is, did you say that was April 10th coming up?
Yeah, that's on Friday, April 10th. And I do, it's the same. I think it's the same.
Yes,
I think it's an hour earlier. I think it's 3. It's the 4 Mountain Time, which was, you know, make the adjustment Pacific, Central, and Eastern. But it is our free class where I will go into a little bit this again and be happy to take people's questions.
Thank you so much. It was lovely to talk with you, and we'll go ahead and I'd love to get you back so we can talk a little bit more, but please come and join our class if you can. Thanks so much, AdaRA. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. And I hope to see you and other people on April 10th.
Perfect. Bye-bye.